Hey, what do you say? This is you-know-who, Greg, a.k.a. Crazy G with NECR New England Concert Reviews, and we are here once again, and this time I have, like always, an amazing artist. This band is actually, I'm surprised by this band because I just recently checked them out. They are a Billboard featured metal band, and he is the vocalist, guitarist, Naturre G for the Nomadic Folk Metal band, Tengger Cavalry. Hello, welcome, and thanks for taking the time to speak with us here at NECR. What is the good word, man?
Hey, Greg, how are you doing? Hey, everybody, how are you guys doing? I'm Naturre from Tengger Cavalry. Happy to talk to you guys today.
Yeah, very cool. Tengger Cavalry is an absolute surprise to me, as I stated. Your sound is unlike anything I've heard, and it's super fascinating. Can you give us a brief rundown on the band and how the concept for the band came about?
So, I think like the basic idea of this band is really like folk metal, but in like a Asian version, because we got like Viking folk metal, Celtic folk metal. So what Tengger Cavalry is really about is more like, we combine Mongolian and Central Asian folk, or even like Siberian, Russian folk a little bit into heavy metal. So it had this a little bit like Oriental flavor in it, but also, still, it remains aggression of the traditional heavy metal. So I think that's like the basic, idea of this whole band.
Yeah. According to your website, you guys are considered, as I stated earlier, a nomadic folk metal group, which, from my understanding, the name Tengger Cavalry basically means the army of the sky god in Mongolian. I gotta be honest with you, the Mongolian fiddles and the Central Asian instruments add incredible depth to your sound. How hard or easy is it to get what you exactly want when you start writing a new CD or track using these quote-unquote diverse tools of the trade?
That's a good question. Actually, I think it's more like, we gotta understand what is the traditional way of using each of this instrument. Like, for example, you gotta really understand how the Mongolian fiddle is, performed in the traditional, musical content. You gotta understand how people, use different, like, fiddle skills or melody or decoration in the traditional Mongolian art. And the same thing with Central Asian instrument, like we use like dombra from Kazakhstan. I've been studying how to play this instrument. I'm not good at it, but I've been studying it for a while, and I sort of get the idea of what the kind of basic skill or the basic feeling that you're gonna use in the traditional Kazakh nomadic art. And I think it's really just we sort of study to understand what kind of like traditional folk, like what kind of sound and technique they have, and then we sort of started to thinking about how to integrate those sound into heavy metal. And at the same time, you still want people to recognize, okay, this is a thrash metal part, this part is like a hard rock part, this part's a little bit bluesy, so it's really like a balance of both, I guess, so yeah, that's kind of how I did it, I think.
Again, it's got to be pretty tough to, I guess, can I ask this, do you write your own scales in some aspects?
Not really. I mean, I studied all kinds of like nomadic folk music, and I sort of learned sort of few kind of like stereotype of what kind of scale that this kind of music, like for example, if I'm gonna write like a piece that has a little like Middle Eastern nomadic style, I might use like Phrygian scale or like dominant Phrygian scale, and for Mongolian I might use like minor pentatonic, or sort of like it's not like entirely like this is it, but it's like a stereotype. If you hear that scale, you're probably gonna get an idea of where it comes from, I guess.
Tengger Cavalry is coming out with a new CD on June 2nd called Die on My Ride. It is a magical piece of work. What can you tell us about this new CD?
Well, I think the fans who knows us, when they hear our previous release, they will know, okay, that's Tengger Cavalry, Mongolian folk metal. But for this one, we really try to, do something more interesting, like for the skill perspective or the musical content, like we add a lot of Western melodies to it, like some Russian melodies, like West European, even like some classical skill, just to to reach like a more like broader aspect, I guess, because the music, the lyrics in this album is also very personal, more like it's not like all always about warrior, horses, those kind of the thing that we used to write about. This album is more about a person's personal struggle, or how the society views you. When you confront society push an identity on you. It's more like talk about the traditional heavy metal topic. So because of that, musically we have more modern influence. You can hear more like very like more Western, a little bit more like you hear this from somewhere else, and you can recognize in our music too. So I guess it's more diverse. I guess that might be a good way to put it.
To me, the entire CD is brilliant.
Thank you.
Independence Day thrusts an eerie sound that penetrates the musical mind. What would you like to tell us about this track?
Well, this track I think it's a very dark, nasty track with a riff like fucking heavy as hell and very evil. But, we have like a really beautiful chorus, very uplifting chorus for this song. I think this song is really like, we really want people to fucking go crazy at a live show. Like, it's very easy to play on stage, it's not like really like something fancy that we use to roll for the, like folk metal thing. This one is like real like, almost like Slipknot feeling, like boom, ba, like very, very, straightforward.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got from it too.
yeah. I mean, because I when I was in middle school, I fucking loved Slipknot. I still listen to Slipknot. They're a great band, great songwriters. So I think, let me try to, incorporate those kind of like fucking primitive asshole riff into Tengger Cavalry. It might be so fun,
Yeah, no, totally. Cursed is another striking song. What is the story behind that track?
Well, I think Cursed, musically, if you hear it, it's more like a traditional heavy metal style. It can remind you of like Iron Maiden or even like Rammstein a little bit. It's really not, I wouldn't call it folk metal anymore. I would just say, it's like an alternative metal with some oriental flavor in it. Because, when I wrote this song, I wanted to be very universal for every fucking person to enjoy it. Because, the lyrics is really about, it doesn't matter who you are, there's something always that in your life you want to achieve. But, because the way you were born or the way you were raised, there's always something that is missing that you want to achieve that. So that's why it's called curse. Because, for example, some people want to become like boxer, but their body's not that strong, and people laugh at them. But so that's why this kind of thing is like our own limitations, like a curse to us. And the song is about breaking that fucking curse. Don't give a fuck about those people who put you down because you were born with something that people see as like a disadvantage. So fuck that. So I think that's what more about this song is about.
If you can, and if there is one track off this CD that you could or would call your favorite, which one would it be and why?
Good question. I think for the entire album, my favorite track will be actually, because, it's such a poppy track. I think it's just interesting, like we never had those kind of music before, but me personally, I like to, listen to some really good pop music, some pop music with some good songwriting in it. So for this song, I was, really having fun with the style, and, just to surprise our audience, like, okay, now they got this kind of music, but only one track, not like a whole album, because, we still are heavy metal musicians. But that's why I said this track's my favorite, because, it's like an experiment, and it's fun,
Cool, though. Not only are you releasing Die on My Ride on June 2nd, but you are heading out on tour the day after on June 3rd. Tengger Cavalry will kick off a 25-plus date North American headlining tour featuring support from Venezuelan world music progressive fusion guitarist Felix Martin and pagan folk metal group Hellsaw. It starts in Montreal, and you are ending it here in New England on 7/8 in Manchester, New Hampshire at the Jewel. What can you tell us about this upcoming tour and this New Hampshire show?
I think this is like our third tour in North America so far. Last year we did 2. It was amazing. And for this one, I think people can expect more stuff, even though they saw us before. I think if they come to this new show, it's going to be a little bit different, because this one, because of the new album, we sort of had some new stage presence, and also musically we're going to play a little bit different. And we have 2 new tour members join in. We're going to have a Mongolian banjo and a Western banjo. So like you got two banjos. So something new music instrument on stage. It's really just, we try to create every time we go on tour. We don't want people to see the same shit all the time. We try to bring them something new songs, new stage presence, new mentality, and sort of like that. So I think for the show, New Hampshire show, I think we will have the same mentality. When we play there, we're gonna try our best to play all the old songs and a few couple songs from the new album, including the song that you just asked me, Independence Day, Curse. We're gonna play those songs on stage too.
Cool, nice, yeah, that ought to be great, man. Because I'll tell you, I don't know how you guys do it. If I get the chance, I'm gonna come out and see that show. Because what you create is it really is very intriguing how you blend it all together. Tengger Cavalry's style and/or genre is one that is quite distinctive, to say the least. Do you feel this aspect adds pressure to your performance, or would you say it is also an opportunity to musically enlighten those who might have never listened to the band before?
I think both has effect on it, because one perspective, you're definitely bringing something new that people have no fucking clue what it is. It's and it's sometimes always hard to present something new to people, because they have no clue what this instrument is, why it sounds like that, and why this throat singing sounds like that. Some people get very confused, and which is understandable because it's entirely new stuff. So I can definitely feel the pressure sometimes, but also it's fun. When we have a good energy with the audience, it's actually really fun because you can see how they react to those kind of new stuff that they never heard before, but they can just stand fucking immediately. So that's a great feeling. That we're all fucking human. Music is universal. It doesn't matter if Asian, Western, European. It doesn't really matter. It's when people hear it, there's this happy energy. It doesn't matter where this music comes from. People just join you. I think that's a really enlightened part of the performance. I think
it's funny because when I first heard your sound, I obviously checked out the entire new CD. The prelude or the opening track, Snow, I was just blown away by it.
Thank you.
It kind of gave me that classical feel with the Asian, it actually gave you the feeling that you were up in a mountain somewhere and the snow was falling down and you could see your breath. The visual it gave me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you or any of the members of the band had any classical instrument training?
Me. Well, actually, I couldn't play any classical instrument, but I did study, I went to, New York University to study composition. So I was, professionally trained in music arrangement. And actually, I took course to study, big band jazz arrangement. And that helped a lot, the way you arrange jazz music, you got, brass, you got all the different parts and piano and chord. That really helps because jazz is such a complicated, especially big band jazz. They have such a huge and complicated texture with fucking super crazy chord progression. That really helps. I have to say, because now when I arrange all this Tengger Cavalry stuff, even though it's Central Asia, Mongolian, Russian instrument, it doesn't really matter. When you arrange music, they have the same fucking principles, I guess.
Very interesting, very cool too. See, I never knew that. I learn something new every day doing this.
Yeah.
No, that's cool that you have that little bit of background that has helped you with this, and it kind of adds a twist with the jazz area you kind of focused on. So yeah, that's very interesting. I am highly curious to know who some of your and the band's musical influences are.
Oh, you mean the music influence for all the band members?
Well, for yourself and maybe the band collectively or even individuals.
That's a good question because all of us are very diverse, as diverse as it is the band. Well, me personally, I listen to most of the all kinds of genre. Metal is, always my first love, but also I listen to pop punk, I listen to electronic music, I listen to all kinds of tribal music, or you call that world music. I also big fan of film soundtrack. So that is all my major influence, all the things that I just mentioned. But for my drummer Josh, he's a traditional heavy metal guy. He knows everything about underground metal stuff, which underground thrash metal metal band release what album. So he's like a hardcore metal dude who knows all the really detail about each heavy metal band history. Like my bass player, Alex, he listened to like traditional death metal, or thrash metal in the 80s, and also he listens to like Russian folk music. So it's really like, everybody listens to different stuff, but when we come in together, we all get each other because we all listen to the stuff that other band members enjoy. So, sort of like we get each other, I guess.
It's pretty amazing that the final product that you produce, it's unlike anything I've ever heard before, and it definitely leaves you, I don't want to say wanting more, it kind of leaves you like, wow, I got the first impression, I was like, am I going to like this? And as I started listening to the whole thing, I was like, wow, I was blown away by it, because you never know, and especially with hearing a different style instrument, as you stated, it doesn't matter, Asian, whatever, blah blah blah, it's all the same. I totally agree with you on that. I don't think that matters at all. I think it's how you can produce a good solid product, and I believe that's what Tengger Cavalry has done with this new CD called Die on My Ride. It really is a very cool CD. And with that being said, Naturre G, other than what we covered, is there anything else you would like to add? And is there anything else on the horizon for Tengger Cavalry we might not know about?
I mean, not really. I think we covered most of the stuff, but the band gonna head into Europe festivals in July and August, but we are still waiting for an announcement, so no specific date yet. So that's something gonna come out soon, I guess. And for the album, I think it's it's kind of cool that we present this Die on My Ride, that it's not just repeating what we have done before. In the past few albums that we released out, they sort of are repeating themselves, just traditional Mongolian folk with traditional heavy metal. Personally, I'm pretty proud of this Die on My Ride because it has more musical aspect in it that even industrial metal fan could probably enjoy, or someone who listens to punk probably can enjoy. And I'm sure traditional heavy metal head will love this album, or some of the riff they can connect to. So yeah, I'm just happy that this album can come up as diverse as possible.
You guys got a website?
Yeah, it's TengerCavalry.com.
Cool, excellent. Well, all I have to say, finally, Naturre G, is I want to thank you very much. I want to thank Tengger Cavalry. I wish you all the luck in the world with the new CD, Die on My Ride. I wish you the best on this tour. I hope you guys continue to produce some really amazing stuff. I hope you continue to knock it out of the park, because I really dig this CD. I hope, and I would like to think many others are going to dig it. So again, I want to thank you. The best to you, the best to Tengger Cavalry, and good luck, man.
All right, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate that. I'm just glad that you enjoy the album. That's great. That's the best thing I can ever hope.
I do, man. I really do. I can't tell you. I'm a person who always will give anything a shot.
Great.
If I like it, I like it. It's like having the best of both worlds, and to get that today is I don't want to say it's hard to find. It's more sparse today than it was back then. Keep it up. I appreciate it. Again, I wish you the best. Naturre G, vocalist and guitarist for the Nomadic Folk Metal band, Tengger Cavalry. Good luck, be good, and keep on rocking.
All right, thank you, man. Let's stay in touch, all right? Thank you.
Sounds good. Peace.
All right, cool. Yeah, take care. Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Naturre G, vocalist and guitarist for the Nomadic Folk Metal band, Tengger Cavalry. I am Greg, aka Crazy G, for New England Concert Reviews, NECR, and I'll be back. I am out of here. Peace.